Have you ever wondered what happens after we die? Not in a theoretical, philosophical way, but in a real, personal, unforgettable encounter with life beyond the physical. Today, I'm going to share a story, a message, that might just challenge everything you thought you knew about life, death, and eternity. This isn't fiction. This isn't imagination. This is truth, based on an experience so intense, so life-altering, it left someone forever changed. And now, it's your turn to listen, reflect, and maybe, just maybe, see the world differently. Because the time to awaken is now. I never believed in God. Not really. I grew up surrounded by people who did, of course. Family members who prayed before meals, friends who went to church on Sundays, social media flooded with spiritual quotes and religious symbols. But me, I was different. I didn't hate the idea of God. I just never thought about it. Life was loud, fast, always happening. School, work, parties, my phone always buzzing with updates. There was no room for silence, no space to consider the eternal. I thought that made me strong. I thought it made me free. What I didn't realize was that I was numb, not brave, not bold, just blind. Blind to the pull on my soul. Blind to the questions buried deep within me that I was too afraid to ask. And then one day, everything changed. One moment I was crossing the street with my best friend. The next, I was gone. And nothing could have prepared me for what came next. It didn't feel like death at first. It felt like confusion. Like waking up in the wrong place in the wrong body, except there was no body. There was only awareness. Only consciousness floating above the chaos below. I saw people screaming. I saw myself lying in the street. My best friend's hands shaking as she called my name. The sirens, the crowd, and then silence. Deep, endless silence. The kind that doesn't just mute sound but swallows thought. That was the moment I knew I wasn't there anymore. And in that terrifying stillness, I felt a force. It didn't ask. It didn't wait. It pulled. Hard. Fast. Into darkness deeper than anything I could have imagined. Not just the absence of light, but the presence of something else. Something wrong. Something ancient. And for the first time in my life, I realized what fear really was. Not adrenaline, not panic, but complete, helpless dread. What would you do if you were suddenly ripped from the life you knew and thrown into a realm you didn't believe existed? I expected peace, or nothingness, but what I entered was a void filled with whispers, thousands of them, maybe millions, each voice layered over the next, some crying, some laughing, others just repeating my name, distorted, slow, cruel. I couldn't see anything, but I felt them circling me, like they had been waiting, like they knew me. And what shook me to my core was the feeling that I belonged there, that I had always belonged there. I screamed, but no sound came out. I tried to run, but I had no feet, no body, only fear, and the terrifying realization that this was not a nightmare I could wake up from. This was real. This was forever. And as I drifted deeper, surrounded by those tormenting whispers, a thought pierced through the madness. What if I was wrong? The arrogance of a lifetime of disbelief collapsed in one moment. Everything I mocked, every warning I ignored, every time I laughed at those who believed, it was all crashing down on me like a tidal wave of regret. And in that moment, I wanted out. But there was no exit, just shadows that moved without form, heat that didn't warm but burned from within. And then, something changed. A voice, louder than the rest, not shouting but commanding. Like thunder wrapped in calm. One word. Enough. The darkness recoiled, the whispers silenced. And before me, light. Not the gentle glow of a candle, not the brightness of the sun. This was light that saw, light that searched, light that judged. And standing in the center was him. I didn't need to ask who he was. My soul knew before my mind did. It was Jesus, and his gaze didn't strike me down. It undressed me. It laid bare every part of who I was, every lie, every secret, every choice I had made. And in his eyes, I saw not anger, but truth. A truth so overwhelming that I collapsed beneath the weight of it. Have you ever looked at someone and known instantly that they see you, not the mask, not the show, but you? That's what his eyes did. And in that moment, I realized I had wasted my life. I tried to speak, tried to explain, but no words came. Because in that presence, there were no excuses, no justifications, just truth, pure and piercing. My memories flashed before me, like a film I couldn't pause. Times I mocked believers, times I pushed away people who tried to help, moments I chose comfort over compassion, pride over humility. But worst of all, the chances I had to change, and didn't. The moments I felt the emptiness, and brushed it aside. The nights I wondered if there was more, and scrolled through my phone instead. It wasn't ignorance that condemned me, it was willful blindness. And now, in front of him, I could feel it, like chains wrapped around my soul. He didn't say a word, but I knew. I had chosen this. Every step of the way, every thought, every decision. It wasn't punishment, it was consequence. And the scariest part? I saw how close I had come to never realizing it. Then came the visions, first of my life, then of what's to come. I saw a world in chaos, streets burning, people running, screaming, hiding from shadows they couldn't see. I saw friends I had known, family members I loved, lost, wandering, deceived. And the darkness? It wasn't hiding. It was walking among them, bold, confident, and welcomed. And I heard his voice again, calm but final. This is what's coming. And I knew. This wasn't metaphor. This wasn't symbolism. This was prophecy. I felt a chill deeper than fear. It was urgency, desperation. I wanted to warn them. I wanted to shout, "Wake up, before it's too late." But I couldn't. Not yet. Not from there. But maybe, if you're watching this now, it's not too late for you. Maybe this message reached you because it was meant to. Because the clock is ticking. Because your soul already knows what your mind has been trying to deny. Suddenly I was falling. Not gently. Violently. Spiraling downward into fire. Screams tore through the air. Not movie screams. Real ones. Raw. Agonizing. The kind that etch themselves into your bones. And when I landed, if you can call it that, I knew where I was. Hell. Not a cartoon. Not a punchline. Real. And horrifying. The heat wasn't around me. It was inside me. Pain wasn't physical. It was spiritual. I saw faces. Familiar ones. People I knew. People I passed every day. And they looked at me. Not with anger, but with sorrow. Some reached out. Others whispered my name. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. I couldn't help them. Not now. Not from here. And worse, I might be one of them. And then, I felt it. A hand, pulling me, lifting me. And once again, his voice. Not yet. And just like that, I woke up. I gasped for air like someone who had just surfaced from the deepest part of the ocean. The bright hospital light stung my eyes. I heard voices, doctors, nurses, my family sobbing. But I couldn't speak. I couldn't even cry. All I could do was breathe. They told me I had been dead for 3 minutes. Just 3. But what I experienced felt like an eternity. And how do you explain eternity to someone who's never tasted it? How do you find words for the kind of truth that shatters your soul? I knew they wouldn't believe me. Not fully. Not the way it needed to be believed. But I had to try. I had to speak. I had to warn. Because I wasn't brought back for nothing. I had a purpose now. One that couldn't wait. One that might cost me everything. But I had to begin. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and disbelief. I tried to go back to normal. School, friends, scrolling through my feed like before. But everything was different. I saw things I hadn't noticed before. I felt things more deeply. I couldn't laugh at the same jokes or ignore the same signs. And then, things started happening. At night, I felt it. A presence. In my room. Watching me. Sometimes I couldn't move. Sleep paralysis, they'd call it. But this was different. There was something there. Something angry. Something dark. It whispered things I couldn't understand. But I felt them in my bones. Fear returned. And yet, I knew what to do. One word. One name. Jesus. And every time I said it, the darkness fled. That's when I understood. What I experienced was real. And something didn't want me talking about it. I began to speak out. Quietly at first. To my family. Then to a few friends. And just like I expected, some laughed. Others rolled their eyes. Some even stopped talking to me altogether. They thought I was crazy, that I was traumatized, that I needed help. And maybe I did, but not the kind they thought. What I needed was strength. Strength to keep speaking. Because despite the rejection, something amazing happened. A few people listened, really listened. They came to me in secret, with tears, with questions, with a hunger they couldn't explain. What can I do to make sure I don't end up there? They asked. And in those moments I understood. This was bigger than my comfort, bigger than my reputation. If just one person turned back because of my story, then every tear, every doubt, every sleepless night was worth it. But the more I shared, the more the attacks intensified. Not from people, but from the unseen. I felt it when I prayed. When I spoke the name of Jesus, I'd feel chills, resistance, pressure in the air, like something didn't want me to continue. I'd dream of the fire again, of the screams, of the faces. But I'd also remember his eyes, that gaze of truth, that fire of love, and it gave me courage. I started sharing my story online, not for likes, not for followers, but because I knew time was running out. The world was sleeping, distracted, entertained to death. And if I didn't speak, who would? You might be feeling it now. That knot in your chest, that stirring in your spirit. That's not fear. That's a call to wake up, to remember, to choose, before it's too late. And once I truly opened my eyes, I saw things I had never noticed. People walking like zombies through their lives, addicted to their phones, obsessed with trends, chasing approval, craving validation, but spiritually empty, blind to eternity. I saw believers too, people who claimed to know God but lived like he was just a weekend accessory. I saw churches full of passionless worship. I saw faith replaced by comfort, truth diluted by popularity, and my heart broke, because I had been one of them, dead inside and didn't even know it. That's when it hit me. This message wasn't just for atheists or skeptics, it was for everyone. Because deception doesn't come wearing horns. It comes wearing convenience, compromise, complacency. And unless we fight it, we'll sleepwalk straight into hell. That's why I keep talking. Not because it's easy, but because it's urgent. People don't realize how thin the veil is between life and death. One heartbeat, one breath. That's all it takes. And when it's over, you don't get a redo. You don't get to negotiate. You face the truth. You face yourself. And you face the one who knows everything about you. That's why I speak with fire. Not to scare, but to stir. Because we've been lulled to sleep, told that love means silence, that truth is hate. But the most loving thing I can do is tell you what I saw, what I lived, what I now know deep in my soul. This life is a test, and eternity is the reward or the consequence. You can't afford to wait until tomorrow, because tomorrow isn't promised. But this moment, this is a gift, and you're meant to use it. You might be watching this right now with a mix of curiosity and discomfort. Maybe something inside you is resisting. That's not coincidence. That's the battle for your soul. One side wants you numb, distracted, and blind. The other is calling you, right now, to wake up, to listen, to remember who you really are. And I'm not here to convert you with theatrics or manipulation. I'm here to tell you the truth. What you do with it is up to you. But don't let fear stop you. Don't let pride delay you. Because every second you hesitate is a second closer to the end. And when that door closes, when your final breath escapes, you'll either step into glory or into darkness. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you. Choose now, while you still can. Now that you've heard this message, you can't unhear it. You can't erase the truth that's been placed in front of you. This was never just another video. It's not content to consume and forget. This is a warning, a lifeline, a second chance wrapped in words you were meant to hear right now. Because if you've made it this far, it's not by accident. You were meant to be here. And maybe, just maybe, this is your wake-up call. A moment of clarity in the noise of life. A whisper from eternity calling your name. So now you have to decide, what will you do with it? Don't wait. Don't let the next notification, the next distraction, pull you back into the fog. This world is running out of time, and so are we. Every heartbeat is a countdown. Every breath is a gift you don't know how many more you'll get. I say this with love, with urgency, with the weight of what I've seen. Turn to Jesus. He is not a religion. He is not a tradition. He is the truth, the way, the life. The only one who can break your chains and rewrite your story. He's waiting, but he won't wait forever. Choose him now, before the door closes, before the chance is gone. If this message spoke to your soul, don't just keep it to yourself. Inscribe it in your heart. Let it lead you to a decision that changes your eternity. And then, share it. Someone in your life needs to hear this just as much as you did. And don't stop there. Inscribe your commitment in action. Inscreva-se no canal. Subscribe not just to stay connected with my words, but to stay grounded in truth. Because here, we will continue to speak what others are afraid to say. We'll expose the lies, confront the darkness, and walk in the light. This platform isn't just about videos, it's a place of awakening. A gathering of those who are tired of sleepwalking through life and ready to live with purpose. And I want you to be part of that. Follow this journey, not for entertainment, but for transformation. Stay with me as we grow, as we learn, as we prepare, not just for a better life here, but for the eternal life that comes next. If you felt something stir inside you, that's your spirit responding. Don't ignore it. Feed it. Strengthen it. Begin walking with Jesus today, not tomorrow. Today. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be perfect. Just willing. Just honest. Just ready to surrender the mask and face the truth. And if you've already given your life to him, then use this message to renew your fire, to deepen your commitment, to remind you that you are part of something greater. There is a battle raging around us, and your voice matters. Your testimony matters. So let's rise together, bold, unashamed, ready to live and die for what truly matters. I know this hasn't been easy to hear. Truth rarely is. But I'm proud of you for staying, for listening, for allowing your heart to be touched. This moment we shared matters more than you know. It's more than pixels on a screen. It's a divine appointment, a holy interruption, and I want you to know, wherever you are, however broken you may feel, you are not alone. I'm with you. And more importantly, he is with you. Always. Whether you feel him or not, whether you believe it yet or not, you've been seen. You've been chosen. Now walk in that truth. Thank you for being here. Thank you for opening your heart. Thank you for having the courage to face what most people run from. I don't take that lightly, and I want you to know, this is just the beginning. Stay close. Keep watching. Keep seeking. Keep fighting for your soul. Because every time you choose truth over comfort, light over darkness, Jesus over the world, you're winning. You're growing. You're becoming who you were always meant to be. I'll be here, waiting, praying, speaking. Until next time, stay awake, stay ready, and never forget, he's coming soon.